Assalamu alaikum and a very good day, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming to our presentation. Today, my student, PhD candidate Farhana Zaminl Tinny, will be presenting a paper entitled The Missing Bangladeshi Media News Frame in Rohingya Crisis. Without further ado, please welcome Farhana. Farhana, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Jim. Good morning, everyone. It's an honor for all of us to be present at this conference and to present our topic. As Dr. Jim has mentioned, the topic for this research is to find out the missing Bangladeshi media news frame in Rohingya crisis. So since 25th August 2017 till now, it's more than 5 years, almost 1.1 million people from Rohingya, from Myanmar, have actually fled to Bangladesh. So it has caught the attention of media, both nationally and internationally. They are writing reports on this Rohingya crisis in Bangladesh, and Bangladesh media is no indifference. So the most common news frames they have been used, then both the national and international media regarding this Rohingya crisis in Bangladesh are refugees as victim of the situation, humanitarian crisis, a problem, a threat to the host country, an illegal inhabitants, and the burden for the host country. So when we did a research or did a study on the media news frames used by the Bangladeshi news reporters on Rohingya crisis, we couldn't find anything different or specific than the previous studies. But what we have observed is there are some specific news frames that they have excluded or avoided specifically while framing the Rohingya crisis in Bangladesh. So when these media reporters avoid or exclude any media news frames specifically, that creates news bias and information disorder. So, this study seeks to explain reasons behind the missing news frame in avoiding any particular news reports in Rohingya crisis. So, for this research, the objectives we have are to identify the missing news frame and to explain the ideological basis of such portrayal of news using rhetoric as framework. We could have add on few more research objectives to this research, but due to the pandemic situation, everyone is working remotely. It was quite difficult for us to reach the news reporters and collect data, so we stick to two research objectives only. So we have chosen qualitative research approach for this research. For the sampling method, we have particularly chosen the media reporters who are working in this same international beat on Rohingya issues, and we have asked for their references to find out or to reach more news reporters, media reporters who are working on the same field for further information. As we mentioned before that, since almost 2 years, we're stuck due to pandemic for COVID-19. We are avoiding the connection, one-to-one connection. We couldn't reach a lot of people, but we have interviewed 5 media reporters from both print media and electronic media. We could do one-to-one in-person interview with two of them only. Rest three were done by video calls, video call. And we have chosen 20 news articles from, again, both print and electronic media to do a content analysis. For the collection procedure, as I said earlier, we have done in-depth interview, we have analyzed news reports, and we have tried to analyze the language, the text they're using, the tone they're using while expressing themselves regarding the Rohingya crisis in Bangladesh. So, regarding the results and findings, we have seen and observed that these media reporters of Bangladesh, they have prioritized two thing particularly. One, the voice of Bangladeshi government, and the other is the voice of international organizations, especially UN organization. So from the content analysis of newspaper, what we have found, I would like to quote from an interview of Foreign Minister of Bangladesh, Dr. A.K. Abdul Momen. Repatriation to be the only solution for the persecuted and displaced people coming from Myanmar, as they are not refugees but only having a temporary shelter in Bangladesh. So you have seen that the Bangladeshi people, are calling the refugees, the Rohingya people, not refugees but the displaced, forcefully displaced nationals, because according to the Convention of Bangladeshi Law 1952, if you call anyone refugees, you will have to facilitate them with all the facility the locals are getting in the country. Bangladesh, as of yet, not ready for that. And analysis from the interview, as I have quoted three respondents here. Like one of them were saying that UN officials are trying to enforce the title refugees on Bangladesh, because if they do so, the fund they are getting will be flowed. Okay. And since, as we know, and we have been seeing that there is a constant controversial standpoints between Bangladesh government and UN officials, the media reporters are playing a bit safe and not taking any profound side of the ongoing crisis. They are trying to observe what's going on and what can be done, and it's an conscious choice of them, of the media reporters, to avoid the voice of the stateless people of Rohingya. So in conclusion, if I go refer back to our objective number one, which was what is the missing news frame? The missing news frame is the muted voice of the stateless Rohingya people in Bangladesh. And the second question was the ideological basis of portrayal such news. We have seen that they are prioritizing the return of these Rohingya people back to their country safely, so that uh, it doesn't violate the usual or the natural life cycle of Bangladesh anymore, because it seems that the UN organization failed to keep the promise that they promised once. And it's our concern now, it's the concern of media people now to attract the attention of both national and international organization, so that they can uh, send them back to the Myanmar safely, where they belong actually. So this is so far from our presentation or our study. We would love to get further queries or question on our study. Uh, and these are some references we have used for this study. It was really a pleasure to be at this conference, and thank you for the organizer who organized such a wonderful conference. Thank you.
Thank you, Farhana. And that's all for our presentation. For the inquiries, you can email Farhana to the email address stated at the beginning of the presentation. So thank you, Farhana, and thank you, everybody.